And that's what like having a champion mindset is to me is you have to go into every practice with the intentions of doing it like as if you're a champion already.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Cheer Up. I have Hailey with me again for part 2. Last time we couldn't finish, and so we're gonna wrap things up today with a couple questions. And yeah, thank you so much, Hailey, for being again here on the pod, part 2.
Yes, I'm excited.
Awesome, thank you. You said you just got back from school?
Yes, like 10 minutes ago.
Wow, let me tell you this. This girl is like super dedicated to her academics, and for her to be here on the podcast and take the time, I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Do you have to go back to school after?
No, I actually have all my classes that end before 11 a.m. So I'm up from like 7 a.m. to 11 every day. But I like it though, because then I can just like focus on cheer in the afternoon and work and relax a little bit if I have time.
Right, that's
Yes.
awesome. And last time in our conversation we talked about that you're very into your academics and you're very into your cheer, right? Being athletic.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
my I have had this question for you. How do you balance all the academics and studying and being a good student and also being a great athlete?
It's honestly really hard to balance. I don't get a lot of sleep. I should be getting more sleep for sure, but I pretty much just choose my priorities, and a lot of people like try to make having a social life a very big priority in college, and I just really don't have time for that when I choose to prioritize cheerleading and my academics. So I'm doing about 3 hours of homework every day and after school's over, and then we have practice for 3 hours Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And then I'm stunning outside of practice and tumbling outside of practice every at least every day, one time at least. So there's not much time for a social life. So I'm pretty much just like constantly working on either homework or stunning. And then at that point I'm tired. So I go to bed.
Wow.
Yes.
So there's no work-life balance for you pretty much. It's just either cheer or academics. There's no chill
Yeah,
time for
just
you.
not really. Sometimes I'll have an occasional like Saturday where I'll have a couple hours where I can like relax. Um Goodness, I had to sneeze. Sorry.
You're okay.
Um,
Bless you.
but occasionally thank you. Occasionally, I'll have, like, a Saturday, but recently I haven't been because 'cause I've been traveling every weekend literally since school started, going to, like, coach up at different colleges and help out with their boys and stunning, so I haven't really had, like, a weekend off either, so it's just a lot.
Kids nowadays, like especially in all-star cheer, um, have a hard time balancing like school and and cheer. And some kids like at all-star don't have time to either do middle school cheer or high school cheer and all-star cheer at the same time.
Right.
And so I was just wondering how you did it all. Uh,
So I've always kind of had that type of lifestyle. Like even in high school, I was doing like club gymnastics, my high school gymnastics, and like upper level academics, like AP classes and dual credit classes. So I think I've learned throughout time how to better management my time. And in high school, having a big social life was a priority for me. So I would slack off in other areas. And I just kind of realized as I grew up that like I have to pick my top two because that's the only way to have like a healthy balance. Otherwise, I'm going to spread myself so thin in all of these different directions. I'm not going to be successful at any one of them. So I have to pick like my two priorities and just put my all into those two things. And that's what I've been trying to do.
wow, that's important.
Yes.
I love what you said right there. You have to pick two things that you got to really focus on. Because
Yes.
a lot of kids nowadays they like to go and play and party and also do cheer,
Right.
and then they're tired, and then that's when one of them suffers, you know.
Exactly. And then I'm like looking back, like, man, like I had fun with my friends, but that's a very like temporary thing. And what I should be doing is stuff that affects my whole future. So it's like you just gotta weigh it out on what's more important to you.
Okay, tell me about moment where you made a decision that changed your life?
I would say choosing to pursue cheerleading, because I was really nervous, like, going into camp my, rookie year, and I don't think I mentioned this last time, but, my family was I grew up in a divorced family, and my dad wasn't in my life for, like, 11 years, I think is what I calculated, something like that, or 7 years, I forget, but my grandpa, my mom's dad, is kinda who raised me and was that father figure to me for a long time, and he grew up with polycystic kidney disease, and literally like a week before pre-camp of my rookie year at Trinity Valley, my grandpa had a stroke and passed away, and
I'm
that
sorry.
was like a it's okay, thank you, and that was like a huge determining factor for me with pursuing the valley, because after he really wanted me to go into cheerleading, like, he really, really wanted me to. He was talking nonstop about how excited he was to watch me at camp and everything. And then when that
Wow.
happened, like, a week before I was about to go to this whole new sport with all these different people, I started second guessing everything, and I was like, "Maybe this is, like, a sign that I shouldn't pursue this, and, like, I need to stay home and do this or that." But then I got a different perspective on it, and I was like, maybe this is actually like God's way of telling me that this is exactly what I need to do. Like, He's gonna still be watching me from above, and like He wanted me to do this, and I need to do this, if not for myself, for Him too. And me choosing to go to camp like really made me realize, like, this was before I even got CCFC, like, our letters and all of that, and understood, like, the principle of what Trinity Valley is. But from that week forward, like, I felt it, if that makes sense, because I had all these people I had literally met, like, that day that were all there for me, like, I could grieve with and it like, talk with, and people that related to me, went through similar situations. So it just really made me realize that, like, I was putting myself in a good environment that was gonna propel me on a positive path, like, from that point forward, and I think my life has drastically changed. I've changed as a human, my sport has changed, like, the way that I, like, see the world has changed just from cheer, which is crazy. Just the mindsets I've had to develop being in this sport.
So with that, with knowing that your grandfather passed away right when you were about
Mhm.
to commit to cheer,
Yes.
tell me about one of the hardest challenges you've had to overcome.
Honestly, I think it would be not making Team USA last year, because I had really, like, set all of my, I guess, focus first semester of last year into making that team. Like, I went into the cave by myself. Luckily, I had Molly there, and Molly's amazing, and she was able to teach me all of these different baskets and stuff that I needed for Team USA. But, like I was saying, I'm very self-motivated, so I was going in the cave every day, getting everything that I needed, tumbling wise, basket wise, just making sure that there was no reason that they could tell me no. And then whenever I got to USA, my stunt partner was had pneumonia like the 2 days before. So he was
Wow.
really, really sick like when we were there. And he was kind of just pushing through it for me because he knew how much it meant for me. But like the tumbling portion of my tryout went amazing. The baskets went amazing. Like, but when it got to stunting, our stunts were definitely not good. I think we hit like one out of the three that we had to show clean. And then the other
Wow.
one was like pressed, one dropped. Like, it just wasn't, it did not go as planned. And that was something I really had to like skip it. I always just say Imma skip it, like, I just skip it, don't keep it in your head and focus on what's next to come, and it was really, really hard for me, honestly, like, all of last year, just, seeing how the team did and stuff, and I really wanted to be a part of it, and I still do, and that's why, like, I know this year what I need to do differently, preparation-wise and things like that, and, I mean, everyone hates being told no, you know what I mean? We all hate being
Yeah.
told no. And, like, sometimes people will take it to heart and you'll feel like you're not good enough, but really it's not even that simple. Like, there's so many different parts that go into, making a team. Just like I learned at Trinity Valley and Weber, like, you'll have people that are just as good as you in this area, but like maybe they already have all of these people here that are returning that the coaches know what they are capable of, and they just don't need that spot filled that year. Like it's things like that that sometimes have nothing to do with you, and you just can't take it that seriously. And like that, I'm trying to think of the word. That made me have to find a lot of self confidence because for a while, like I took it as like I'm not good enough. And then whenever I started seeing the stuff that they were doing, I was like, okay, this has nothing to do with my skill level. Like I'm good enough. It's just my approach into it and the fact that like I just didn't have a good tryout. And it's that simple. So it's
Right.
things like that.
Did your partner have pneumonia while you were doing that tryout at for
Yes.
you say? Oh, okay. That
Yes.
affected you
Yeah.
big time.
Yes, yeah, he, like, had no strength, like, our stunts were not good. We didn't even really practice beforehand because he was sick that whole week at Trinity Valley, so when we went up to Weber, we were just, like, stressing out, and he was stressing out, and but on a good note, though, is while I was there, that's when I signed to Weber for this upcoming season, so, like, there's always a good side to every bad experience,
Yes.
so I was literally, like, bawling my eyes out after that tryout, and then my mom was like, "Hailey, you're about to sign to the best program in the world right now." She was like, "We can cry about this later." She's like, "You need to go be happy for yourself." Because she's like, "Is
Exactly.
anyone else signing?" And I was like, "No." She's like, "Then that tells you all you need to know is Weber State wants you, like, you need to stop." And then that's one of those things I was telling you last time when you focus on the negatives so much, you forget to take in the positives. So I had to like
Yes.
switch my brain for a minute there. And I was like, there are so many people that would kill for this opportunity to sign to Weber, not even have to
Absolutely.
stress about trying out. So I really just tried to, what is it, close off the negative thoughts and focus on what was at
Yeah.
hand. So
Have you ever set a goal and not achieve it? What was that goal? And later made it happen? And what did you do to make it happen?
my rookie year at the Valley, I really wanted to compete at NCAA partner stunt. I made UCA partner stunt, and me and my partner like made history at that competition, like as the first ever true freshman to place top 10 at the competition. And
Wow.
I was super excited to go into NCAA partner stunt because we actually did really good at UCA for our first time ever competing. I think we got seventh place. So we beat like all of the big name people that everyone was watching at that competition, except for like the Weber couples, that are just insane.
Yeah.
And I was like, my goal is NCAA. Like I just want to qualify. And then there was a lot of I'm trying to remember what it was that caused this, but for whatever reason, my partner and me could not come together to make a video in time for NCAA partner stunt qualifications. And I'm trying to remember what it was, but basically when we qualified for UCA, we barely qualified. I mean, by like three places, we barely qualified. So in my head, I was like, we need to up our difficulty. We need to do a lot of this stuff cleaner. And I don't remember what it was, but we never got to actually go in and work on it. And I was really frustrated with the situation. And we ended up submitting the same exact video, stunting wise, that we submitted for UCA. And for y'all that don't know, NCAA is a way harder competition to qualify for because at UCA Partner Stunt, none of the UCA schools actually get to compete in it because they're doing their team competition. So it's pretty much just people from NCAA that come and compete at UCA Partner Stunt. So I knew that we
Hmm.
were going to be going up against like 20 more couples at NCA. So I was like, we need to up our game. And I was like stressing out, stressing him out. And then it ended up not even happening because we couldn't practice. So we submitted the same video and didn't make it. And I was really like disappointed and annoyed with the situation at the time. But then you asked, I think, what I did differently the next year. So right after UCA Partners that happened this past year, in order to prevent that happening again to me, I took 2 weeks off from my stunt partner. We didn't stunt at all after UCA was over, just so we could like get a break and rest because drilling like a partner stunt routine gets exhausting mentally and physically after a while. And that's pretty much all you're doing all of Christmas break leading up to the competition. So I took 2 weeks off. minute we got back to school, we started drilling out our new NCA routine that we were going to do, up to the difficulty for everything. Took like 2 things to one arm for the video, took one thing to like one leg for the video. Just made sure that we had at least something prepared, so that way it wasn't like last minute and we were scrambling trying to like throw something together. And then we ended up qualifying for both this past year. And now I'm getting ready to submit my video for UCA partner stunt. It's due here in a month. So yeah, it's pretty much just plan ahead, don't procrastinate. I'm a big procrastinator, so I really had to learn from that situation.
Yes. No, I have a problem procrastinating too, so you're not alone on that.
Yes.
So what you did to achieve that goal is you planned better and you didn't wait last minute.
Yes. Well, and I made sure that I had like a stunt partner who was equally as motivated as me, because I don't like when you have someone that has different priorities, kind of what we were talking about. You're constantly like badgering them about stunt, 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 and they don't, that's not their priority. That gets annoying to them, and then it creates bad chemistry. So like now I have a partner that is very goal oriented in the same way that I am. So if anything, it's not just me asking, it's him asking. And if I'm feeling tired or something, he's like, no, Hailey, we have work to do. And like, I like that because it constantly makes me like push
Pushes
myself
you.
too. Yeah. And I don't have to be the one pushing them. It's like they're pushing me too. So I like that type of thing. And yeah, just really stunning is so important to find someone you have good chemistry with, because otherwise you're going to drive each other crazy. And a lot of other people also don't know this, but submission videos for partner stunt are always due like 2 to 3 months before the actual competition. And who you try out with, you cannot change that partner. Like you have
Oh,
to compete with them at that competition. So you have to make sure that y'all's bond is good, because otherwise you're going to be stuck with them regardless, and you're going to either end up not competing or hating each other while you're trying to compete. So you have to make sure that it's good.
yeah. It almost sounds like your other partner did not have the same goal as you did.
Mhm.
It's not that they were more goal oriented, is that they didn't have the
Right.
same goal you did. And this partner,
Yeah.
he has the
Mhm.
same goal as you.
Yeah, and I think that also just had to do with maturity level too, because like I was saying, me and him were barely 18 years old, and like a female being 18 is a lot different than a male being 18. And also, I me personally, I think stunning wise, females can pick up stunts a little bit quicker than males, because the boys under you can kind of what's a good, if you're stunning with a really good boy and you're struggling as a female, the stunt is more likely to hit than if you're stunning with a really good female and a boy who's struggling to learn. You know what I mean? Because they're the ones that have to
Yeah,
catch you.
exactly.
And that is that type of stuff. And I was doing all of these crazy skills, picking up stuff like this. And boys, I don't know if I can say this word on here, but I call it level 3 hell, because I think there's 10 levels of stunning for boys. And level 1 through 3 is your basics, your tossing skills, your full ups, your hands full arounds, things like that. Your hand turns, you're going to straight up libs. All of those skills take so long for boys to master. But once they master them, all of your elites start coming after like this for boys. Like you'll get all your basic elites, then all you do is add a spin to it or a double spin. So for boys, once they get past those intermediate levels, they'll master everything like within a couple months after that. For girls, though, we don't really have to go through those stages, because for you, you're just holding body positions and learning how to like hold your own weight and not balance. And so, anyways, my point in saying this was where I was at the time was I was ready to throw a back dub and compete it, but my partner was just learning the back handspring full up. So I was getting frustrated because he wasn't,
You were at
it
different
wasn't that he
levels.
wasn't, different levels, yeah, and it wasn't that he wasn't trying. It was just like I was stressing him out because I wanted more for myself, and he really was giving his all at the time, but it just wasn't where like I wanted to be. But
Yeah.
now he's like one of the top stumblers in the game. If you look at my stunt partner that I had my rookie year, he's definitely going to go down as like one of the best tumblers and stunners like to ever go through college cheerleading. And that's all it took him, was those like 3 4 months of mastering those basics. And now he's throwing all these skills and out tumbling everyone. So he's like, he's just insane.
Wow. That's
Yes.
awesome. Yeah, it sounds like you
Yes.
two are at a completely different level. You were.
Hmm.
Let me ask you this: hell level 3 is what
Yeah.
is the lower level, and level 1
Yes.
is obviously okay. Cool. I just want
Basics.
to.
Yeah. Level one is basics. Level two is like your spinning basics. Level three is your stuff going to one leg that spins. And then after that, that's when you go to inversions. That's when you go to front pops. That's when you go to spinning inversions, double spinning inversions, one arm hand skis, like things like that. You have to master those basics as a boy and figure out like how to squeeze your lat muscles and shrug through different parts of your shoulder for all of those other skills to actually hit and you to understand it.
Out of all this, you being a
Mhm.
gymnast, you um being a great student, being a great cheerleader, um, what are you most proud of yourself?
I like the fact that all of the hard work I put into something, I'm actually having something to show for it. And I have people that like recognize me as one of the best to do it. And I always wanted that in gymnastics, but kind of like I was saying the other day, if you're not on like the US national team by the time you're 15 in gymnastics, you're really not going to go anywhere with it. And I put so much work into gymnastics. Like because cheer I feel like has kind of come pretty easily to me, but gymnastics didn't. And I think that's why I am progressing at cheer is I'm putting in my same work ethic that I did into gymnastics, except cheer is coming a little bit easier to me. So it's like just helping me even more. And in gymnastics, like, man, I was kicking my butt over a couple of skills for months at a time. Like, I think a pirouette on bars was driving me crazy for like half of a year until I finally like got the confidence and stuff that I needed from it. And in cheer, like I feel like I'm actually having something to show for all of the hard work that I put into it now. And that's like something I'm really proud of myself is like I dedicated my life the last 2 years to mastering all of these stunning skills and helping others the way that I was helped. And I just love being able to go to a competition and there's people that like know me like can I take a picture with you and I'm just like y'all watch me like that is so cool and it makes me feel proud of myself I guess that like and people will text me sometimes like you inspired me to do this and I get tagged like every single day like thank you Hailey for creating this skill we finally figured it out and they'll tag me and I'm just like I literally have these people from different countries that are trying skills that I've been throwing. And it's just, I just never thought I would be in this position now when I started at Trinity Valley. And it's just, it makes me really happy looking back at all of the growth that like I've had to go through to get to where I'm at now. And I'm not done yet, but I'm not done yet. But yeah,
Yeah. And with that
yeah,
growth comes, there's probably a lot of struggle in between that,
yes,
But
yes,
you can't take away the fact of your foundation where you came from with gymnastics.
right.
That I'm sure that helped you be where you are right now.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. I wouldn't
Yeah, you got
change it for the world. Yeah.
yeah, you got to give a big ups to gymnastics for that.
Yes.
Do you think you would have picked up cheerleading as fast without that foundation though?
No, not at all. No, definitely not. Yeah.
What has been the attribution to your success and being where you are right now in your career? Mm.
I would say my dedication and determination because I refuse to leave practices without achieving something new every single day. And I feel like the best way to have like a positive mindset about what I'm doing and not get complacent is to go into a practice every day with like a new goal in mind and then leaving every practice focusing on the positives of that day like, for example, Tuesday, I had a horrible pyramid practice, absolutely horrible. I was so upset when I left. But before that, I had a great stunning practice. I got new baskets. I was throwing all of these crazy baskets I never thought I would throw because I never did all star cheer. So they were teaching me like hitch kick doubles and things like that. And what's crazy is those are so scary to me. They're way scarier than flipping, twisting baskets in college. Like a kick double, it's just like I have so much power and just doing like one skill. I feel like I'm gonna keep twisting. So yeah, just things like that were scary to me. And I just really have to make sure that I'm leaving every day focusing on the positives of what I did that day. So that way I will keep coming back motivated every practice. And if I am stuck on a skill, like I learned this the hard way in gymnastics. Like I used to leave practices in gymnastics not accomplishing my goal, and I would go home, be sad, be like, I want to quit, mom. My mom would be like, no, you're not quitting. You're not going to quit on a bad day. So then I would go back to practice, have the best practice ever. And that's how I do it here now for myself, since I don't have my mom to like get me in line. I'm just like, I'm
Yeah.
not going to leave this practice until I accomplish what I had set out for it. Whether that's me staying after for a long time, begging the guys to stay to help me, like just throw me, things like that. Or if it's just something I have to work on my own, like tumbling, like while everyone else is getting water, I'm still going to keep going until I get that skill consistent, things like that.
I bet your teamwork's help your team helps you a lot to stay on that track.
Definitely. I would say more like at Weaver, everyone is really, really good. So we all kind of like focus on ourselves. You'll hear a lot of people like motivating, you know what I mean? But it's like once you get to this level, it's kind of like people can't really help you. You're kind of figuring it out on yourself because none of the skills have been done before. So that's kind of the hard part at Weber. At the Valley, though, I had all these people that had won worlds on this team, competed on this team, came from all these really notable all-star gyms
All
that were
surgeons.
helping me. Yeah, and they were helping me like figure out the basics and the fundamentals, which was awesome.
Nice.
Yes.
Let's talk about that HO reverse that I just gave it a name on Instagram.
Yes. Yes.
Did you guys just hit that literally? How many tries did that take? Or were you working on
I
that for a
was
while?
no, we got tagged in it by Cheer Acro on Instagram, and it was an acrobatic variation of that skill. And in acro, they always land everything like legs apart, but in cheer, it's like feet together. So we kind of modified it a little bit, but we just tried it like one day just for fun. We separated it like we would Purdue up into the backwards hand in hand and just work on the pop through. We got that. We were like, okay, moving on. Then we tried the entry. I think the entry, like us actually catching hands, took like 6 tries. And then once we got like a really stable one, we hit it first, like first try with the pop through, like connected. So it was awesome. And then we watched the video and we were like, yeah, that's not clean enough. We need to do it again. And then we did it a couple more times to make it clean. And then Oliver was like, okay, I have an idea. We're going to take it to a gravity and then we're going to go into a hand ski out of it. And I was like, that's
Wow.
actually so cool. And then I was thinking, I don't think people have like gotten into a hand to hand the way that we just did it. Like I've never seen anyone in the cheer world do like a side summy into a hand in hand. So that's when we made the joke like, oh, we're gonna post it and see what people want to name it. And then you said that, and I was like, that's a perfect name though.
That's awesome. No, that was amazing what you guys see. If you guys,
Thank
if you guys
you.
are on Instagram, the audience watching, you got to check that out. Because that was pretty cool. And I went actually on the
Thank
acro
you.
page and saw them do the same thing with the little
Yes.
variation that you guys did, little twist that you put on it. Because I think the
Mm-hmm.
acro went and split leg, and then the second part, you had your legs closed and went into a one,
One
right?
arm.
Yep,
Yes.
that was pretty cool. That was awesome.
Yes. Thank you.
As far as standards go, what's your
Mm-hmm.
standard in cheerleading? It's something that, standards is something that you do every day to get you where you want to be. What's your
Mm-hmm.
standard?
Having a we call it gold standard, but I call it like a champion mindset. And I go into every practice as if I'm like performing on the band shell that day. So if I'm doing a skill, I'm performing, I'm squeezing, I'm doing what I would do whenever I'm actually out there, because I know everyone does this, but I especially have a tendency to go on like autopilot when I'm competing. Like my body just does the movements and I'm not like actually like checked in really, because then I'm like I get nervous and stuff. So I just go out there, trust my muscle memory. But I learned this the hard way once in gymnastics. I used to just get through my routines at practice, like whatever. Then I would go out there and do all of this extra performing, and shoot, I'm halfway through the routine and I'm exhausted at that point and I'm just barely making it through my skills. And a lot of people don't realize like how much extra energy you're exerting when you are performing. So if you practice that every day, once you get out there, you're going to be doing all of this over the top performing. People are going to be drawn to you only out of a team of 20 watching you, and be just like any other practice. And that's what like having a champion mindset is to me, is you have to go into every practice with the intentions of doing it like as if you're a champion already. It's like things like that.
Wow, I agree.
Yes.
That is great advice. I love that.
Thank you.
Being a champion. It's kind of like having that also that mentality as practice like you perform, right?
Right.
Same.
Same
Yeah.
thing. Yep.
Yeah, I like
Yes.
your thought about it. Always practice like you're a champion. Love
Thank
that.
you. Thank you. And that, I mean, that also has to do with like how you talk to your teammates in practice too, because there's a lot of mat talk that goes on when you're actually competing. And if you don't practice that mat talk as well in practice, you will get tired out, like screaming at people across the floor, like, you got this, let's hit it. We're hitting, come on, no stunts are dropping. Like, if you don't practice like vocalizing those thoughts to your teammates, same exact thing can happen too. And I mean, that also helps your teammates too. Like, I know if I'm hearing people yell at me, like I hear it every single time. And then if they don't, like I'm like, oh wait, what happened? You know what I mean? So it's like
Right.
a continuous flow. Just set the tone, keep everyone on the same vibe and energy level, and that's how you make it through like a routine successfully.
All right, so we're really close to wrapping it up, Hailey. I have
Okay.
like a couple more questions, and then the Gram has some questions for you, of course.
Okay.
You say you're 20, right now?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So if you were 10 years younger, if you were 10, and you think about where you were at that time, relationships, career, family, friendships, and you can think about where you were then, what advice would you give your 10-year-old self?
Not to let anyone steal your joy of the sport that you love. Because that was something I had to learn after going through a lot of trials and tribulations. And I went through bouts of like severe depression my freshman year of high school, through a lot of just personal things, family things, stuff in my sport at school with mean girls that, every kid goes through that stuff.
Yeah.
And I just cared so much about like what other people thought of me growing up. And I feel like I would have been a much happier like child, and really been able to focus on just my love for my sport. I feel like I would have had a happier experience going through that. But I'm also glad that I did go through that, because I feel like that's a lesson that everyone has to learn. And I would have rather learned that when I still had like my family at home, like my safe place, than trying to figure out all of this stuff by myself when I just go home alone at night now. Like, I don't have like a mom that I can rely on physically and emotionally. So I feel like that was a good age to go through all of that stuff. But if there was something I would give my 10-year-old self, it would definitely just be to not care so much about what other people think, and to realize that sometimes the way people react has nothing to do with you, and that everyone's going through like a lot of stuff that you don't know about. You know what I mean?
I agree. That's
So
awesome.
yes.
I love that. And you've gone through some stuff that has taught you that.
Yes,
Uh,
definitely.
Well, listen,
Yes.
we're gonna wrap this up, okay? And
Okay.
so I have some questions for from the gram.
Okay.
So somebody asked Weber Navarro. Okay, I'm gonna say who this is because this is
Okay.
Lily. She was on the
Okay.
podcast, and she's an awesome flyer. You gotta check her
Okay.
out on Instagram, and she
Awesome.
follows you. I know she follows you.
Oh.
Yeah, so she wants to know Weber, Navarro, etc. What should we be doing now to prepare?
For college cheer, is she like an all-star cheerleader?
She's an all-star cheerleader. She's a
Okay.
level 5 tumbler, and she's doing right now like co-ed stuntings at hybrid
Perfect.
cheer.
Okay.
Like she's doing awesome stuff, like crazy stuff.
Hmm. I would tell her definitely keep co-ed stunning, like regardless of if it's like a really insane boy. Like I know Gage works at Hybrid. He's really good. I love stunning with him. tell her to, well, I'm telling you, stunt with as many people as you possibly can, even if it's boys that are learning, because all that does is instill in you like a better sense of basics and technique to where you can stunt on anyone. And it's not just a guy with this technique. And then by the time you get to college, you're expected to be able to stunt on everyone. And if you're forced to all of a sudden have to change your technique to a different boy, like that can definitely put you a little bit behind. So just make sure you're stunning with every boy that you possibly can, even if it's just toss hands, toss platforms. It doesn't have to be elites. Just make sure you're doing that, thinking about what the boy does and what you do, so you can get a better basic understanding of the skill. In regards to tumbling, dead mat tumbling in the grass as much as possible, or if you have a mat that you can just roll out on a basketball floor. Um, the hardest thing for me was transferring from spring floor to dead mat, and that actually is what put me behind so much in tumbling. Is it took me a long time to pick up how to tumble on dead mat with speeding up my back handsprings and changing like the angles of where my feet land and stuff and blocking through my hands a different way. So just make sure you're taking the time now to get reps of those stuff in, even if it's just like standing back handsprings, like a bunch of them in a row, or just tucks, fulls, things like that, that are basics to you. Is she like a good tumbler, like a really good tumbler?
Yeah,
I need
she
to look
is.
at I need to look at her. Okay, so yeah,
Look her
she
up.
might not even need to do all of that, but if she's a good tumbler, she might already have that basic sense of understanding, you know. But one last tip I have is baskets. Start doing flipping baskets early, because baskets in All Star, the shape that your body goes into is a completely different shape than how you flip a college basket. So start that stuff now, so that way when you get to college, you'll just start doing like ball X fulls and ball split fulls, and they won't have to reteach you the basics, and you'll be able to like get ahead of everybody.
Wow, that's awesome advice. No, she
Yes.
is level 5 tumbler, and then like I said,
Okay.
she goes to hybrid cheer.
Cool.
She did the future flyer competition in Texas.
I'm I know exactly who you're talking about now. Okay, yeah.
Lily
I met her. I
Lola.
know exactly who you're talking about
Yeah, you
now. Okay.
did?
Yes,
Yes,
yeah.
her.
Because I was commentating and I remember watching her now. I know who you're talking about. Okay.
Oh, that was
Yes.
you.
Yes.
Okay, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
She's amazing. She was on the
She
podcast.
is.
Yes,
That's
she's
awesome. I
awesome.
didn't know she was on the podcast. That's cool.
Yes,
Awesome.
yes. She has another question for you.
Okay.
What advice would you give a young cheerleader who wants to cheer somewhere like TVCC?
Set your goals and standards high, and make a plan, like a map out your plan for what you want to accomplish in time for your tryout at the Valley. Also, go to every clinic that you possibly can, because a lot of people don't realize this, but sometimes if the coaches just start recognizing your face, once it comes time to that tryout, they'll be like, oh, I remember this girl. Like, I want her on my team. I've seen her this many times. I know what she can do, and just really start getting on like a name to face basis with the coaches. And also just voluntarily bring up signing opportunities, because a lot of times people don't think that they're in the position to be signed to a college, but there's a lot of coaches that would love to sign athletes, because that forces you to commit earlier on, and they don't have to worry about losing athletes as it gets closer to season beginning. So just name to face with coaches, open communication.
Oh, I'm sure she'll
Yes.
love that advice. That's awesome.
Yes. Yes.
Another question from the gram. Wait, what was living in a dorm your sophomore year like?
Oh my gosh.
This is
It
somebody
was,
that knows you, I believe.
I know. It was interesting, I guess. It's hard because you're in this gray area of this newfound independence, yet you still have like all of these adults that aren't family trying to like monitor you 24/7. So it's really weird because you're trying to be independent, but you're also like still having to obey all of these rules that kind of seem like stupid in your head. Like, we had an
Yeah.
11 p.m. curfew at Trinity Valley that applied to everyone that lived in the Cardinal Hall dorms. So when you're like 18, 19, 20, plus we had people that were in their 30s having to obey that 11 p.m. curfew rule. It's just kind of like weird, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but I did like it in the fact that I got to get closer with my teammates, because we all lived together. We were like siblings basically. And you knew exactly that y'all were going to see each other at practice. And then you go home and you still see them. Like, it forces you to get close with them. You know what I mean? So I did
Yeah.
like that part.
Cool. Cool, cool, cool.
Yes.
Another question. What keeps you so driven?
What keeps me so driven? I constantly am setting goals for myself that seem, I guess I don't want to say impossible, but I like setting goals that I have to work really hard to achieve. So I don't set goals that I know I can easily obtain. I set goals that I feel like I have a lot of work to put in and map out like a plan to make sure that I'm like going through all of those stepping stones before I get there. And I feel like when you constantly have something to work on, that's what gives you a drive. When you're just doing it over and over for no purpose and no passion, that's when it gets boring, and that's when you lose like your sense of why, like your reason why for what you're doing. So you also have to put a what to your why. Like what are you going to do to make your why happen? So that's what keeps me driven.
Wow. I
Yes.
like that. I love that very much.
Thank you.
Um, what's on your bucket list?
Bucket list. I want to travel to a couple more countries this summer. I've been in contact with a couple gyms in South America, and I have plans to work with Team Puerto Rico, going back to France again to work with Team France this summer, possibly going to Brazil. And I really want to go to Spain. And I didn't get to go to Spain over the summer. My boyfriend actually went to Spain because I had a camp at Weber. So I really want to try to see if they can like switch the dates this year to where I can go or something. Because
That
I
would
just
be
love
fun.
coaching and I love like all the different cultures, and it just really opens up your mind realizing like how different the rest of the world is outside of America. So I love helping them with cheer, like something we all can bond with together.
Right. It's the
Yes.
same language, but you'll have to
Yep.
learn Spanish for sure.
Right. Right.
That's awesome. Um, okay, this is the last question to wrap things up.
Okay.
Okay, so I don't know if you've watched the podcast before because I asked one last question
Yes.
at the end, right? So let's just pretend everything goes away as for a cheerleading life for everybody, and you have all this
Mhm.
knowledge in your head right now. Tell me three valuable life lessons that you can pass on to an athlete so they can be successful.
Um, Perception is reality. It's not what you say, it's how other people perceive what you're saying. Um, Mindset is the key to everything. Fixed mindset, you'll never be successful. A growth mindset opens up the opportunity to accept failure for what it is and come up with a plan to make it never happen again. And then I would say kind of what you were saying, like every no is going to be an open opportunity for a yes to come in the future. And don't ever let a no, uh, like in your head feel like that means never. No never means never. It just means not right now.
Awesome. Thank you
Yes,
so much for being on the podcast, Hailey. That was amazing. It was
of
so nice
course.
talking to you.
Yes,
Um,
I had so much fun. You've asked like the best questions ever, and it really makes me
oh,
think. So thank you so much.
and you've had awesome answers. I'm telling you, this, I mean,
Thank you.
just knowing that you've been only in cheer for 2 years, right? 2 years, but you have a great background of gymnastics. But for you to be so great at what you do, watching your videos, and like I had no clue before talking to you that you've only been doing cheer for 2 years.
Thank
So
you.
no idea. All I saw is your bio, on Instagram, NCAA champion, former gymnast, but never knew that you only been doing cheer for 2 years. So
Thank
that's
you so
pretty.
much.
And I had a blast chatting with you. So I hope somebody. I know people will get so much value from you and from what you
Mhm.
said.
Thank you so much.
Where can people find you?
Instagram, I'm always answering my DMs and stuff. I'm very responsive on there. So if they ever want like have life lesson questions, skill questions, or just want to reach out, like I will always answer. So Instagram is definitely the number one place to try to get in contact with me.
And
Hailey
what is your
underscore Dylan. Yes,
awesome? Thank you so much, Hailey. It
of
was a
course.
pleasure chatting with you. It was a pleasure having you on the podcast. I hope we can do this again another time. And best of luck to on your journey here.
Thank you so much.
Hope I see you again.
Yes, same here. Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
me.
Take care. Peace out.